Hello and welcome. Good afternoon. Sorry I am 4 minutes late. I had a problem with the camera. It didn't want to recognize me today, but now it does and we can begin. I'm just going to share the video today and we can begin. I hope everyone is doing well. Let's see. Can I share the video? It doesn't want me to share the video. I don't know why. Maybe I'll have to try and do it later. Ah, there we go. Technology can be quite annoying sometimes. Okay, and we have now shared. Good. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me. Again, I'm sorry that I'm late. Evelina says, good afternoon. Today is sunny, Evelina. Irina says, hello. Hello, Irina. And hello, Leondina. Irina says, hi. Ali Cafero. I'm just going to say Ali. It's easier for me. Hello, Ali. And Ali says, hello, everyone. So good afternoon. It is a nice day today. The sun is out. It's better than yesterday. And my hair is growing back. I did try to cut my own hair. It was a terrible effort. It was a very bad haircut, but it's now okay. I don't need to wear a hat. It's not great though, but yeah, I don't recommend trying to cut your own hair. Alejandra says, hi. Hi, Alejandra. Lovely to see you here. Georgia. Hello, Georgia. Nice to see you. Okay, so yesterday we looked at Shakespeare phrases. Today we are going to look at linking words. So discourse markers is what they are. That's the name for this type of language. And we're going to look at how we can help our thought process, how we can link ideas. Some of it will be more for written language or maybe on WhatsApp. But I'm going to try and introduce you to some linking words that you can use when you're just speaking, just normally. Because they are the ones that you probably are going to need on an everyday basis. So there'll be a little bit for everybody. Okay, so let's see. We've got. Let's start ourselves off. We're going to go from topic to topic as well. Okay, so I think what we're going to do. Let's get rid of that. Okay, let's start off with. We'll go with this one because I think this one is something that we can use on an everyday basis. Stefano says, good afternoon, dear teacher. You're welcome. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for being here. So the first one is, as I was saying. Now, this is a really good one to know. This is something you can definitely use when speaking. This is when you were trying to say something and someone asks you a question or someone interrupts and you want to go back to what you were saying. You want to go back to the point you were making, maybe the story. And the way to go back to a point is as I was saying. So, for instance, the conversation might be, person A, let's say you're talking about a movie, for example, and you're saying, I watched a good movie last night. It had, let's think of an actor. It had Will Smith, and it was about Earth, and it was about Earth, for example. Person B comes in and says, I watched a movie with Will Smith the other day, but I can't remember what it was called. Person C, I like films about Earth. I like films about Earth, and I saw Gravity the other day. Person A, as you can see, the conversation is person A wants to talk about a film that they saw with Will Smith. Person B says that they like Will Smith, that they watched a film with Will Smith the other day, but they can't remember what the film was called. And then person C comes in, and now person A wants to try and get back. I have to put a hat on. Actually, I've decided. I think the hair is still not good enough. It needs to grow a bit more, I think. So person A has started, then person B, then person C. And person A wants to try and actually talk about this film that they watched with Will Smith. So to get back onto the subject that you want to talk about, you can go with well. You can always use well. But as I was saying, I watched this film called After Earth. And then you go on. So that is how we can use this discourse marker to get back onto the topic that you want to talk about. And this is a very good phrase to use. How do you say it? Now, if you don't use well, you then just have as I was saying. So you can then say, as I was saying, as I was saying, as I was saying. So saying, okay, this is where, that's the word stress. That's the strongest word. As I was saying. So guys, this is your challenge in today's lesson. If at any point you are typing and you are writing in the live chat section and there is a break, there's a gap between your comments and you're talking about a comment you wrote, but people have written in between, you can start by saying, as I was saying. The other way that you can use this is going back to the point I was making. That's an alternative. Going back to what I said earlier. That's an alternative. What other versions are there? If you're, there's also referring to my previous, referring to my previous comment. So you've got a few. All of them you can use. You can use when speaking, socializing with your friends, or when you're on a WhatsApp chat, for example. You can use this language to help people understand your thought process. So going back to what you previously said, because sometimes it is difficult. Lots of people are talking, and it can be a little bit difficult to follow the conversation. So this is a discourse marker you guys can use. And I'm going to give you the challenge today. Let's see how many of you can use that type of language. Now, let's look at another another phrase that you can use. I think, you know what? I think this would be a good one. What do you think? Okay, so let's say the question is, what do you think about, let's say, what do you think about Will Smith as an actor? Okay, that's actor. Okay, that's the question. What do you think about Will Smith as an actor? Now, you want to come out with your answer, and it's not necessarily going to be negative or necessarily positive, but you do have maybe a strong opinion. So if you have a strong opinion on something, you can go in with "to be honest." So you could say, "To be honest, I think Will Smith is a good actor, but he isn't one of the best actors." Okay, so this is a good one to use. You can definitely use this on informal. This is not formal writing. You would not write "to be honest" in an essay, but if you are on WhatsApp or if you are speaking to friends, you can use "to be honest." So I'm going to ask you guys a question, and let's see if you have a strong opinion on it, and therefore you can use "to be honest." So I'm going to ask, let's say, I'm going to leave it relatively open, but I'm going to ask you guys, who do you think is the best actor today? Okay. Alternatively, let's say you don't know who the best actor is, but who do you enjoy watching most? Okay, that could be the other question. So let's see what you guys reply with. Start off with, "To be honest, comma, to be honest, I really like, let's see, I really like Russell Crowe, for example, or to be honest, I really enjoy Sylvester Stallone movies." Actually, to be honest, I do enjoy Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. They are very entertaining. They're not the best actors in the world, but the movies are entertaining. Like Rocky, Rambo, Escape Plan. What's it? What's the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie I'm thinking of? Can't remember now. It's one to do with Mars, but they're very entertaining movies. So for me, who do I enjoy watching? To be honest, I enjoy watching Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Stefano says, could I replace it with "frankly" or "to be frank" as a discourse marker? Yes, "frankly" and "to be frank" are discourse markers, Stefano, so you can use them. But when would we use them? Frankly, okay, you are going to give a strong opinion, but usually this is going to follow by maybe something negative. If someone says "frankly," you're thinking, you're going to hear, you expect something negative to follow. For instance, frankly, the service is not what I was expecting, for example. Oscana says, good afternoon, Oscana. So yeah, you can say, look, frankly, the service is not good enough. Frankly, the service is not what I was expecting. Or to be frank, that's another one. Okay, to be frank, the argument makes little sense. Okay, so you're giving a strong negative opinion when you use "frankly" or "to be frank." To be honest doesn't mean it's going to be negative. like with my examples, you can make it positive, but you are going to come out with a strong opinion. So let's see what you guys think. If you're not too sure about the acting question, we can change it. For example, let's say we come out with the question, let's say, what, which is the most enjoyable series at the moment? So which is, or what is actually, sorry, that should be what is actually. It should be a what. What is the most enjoyable series at the moment? Sandra says, Sandra says, good afternoon. Sorry, I'm late. Not a problem, Sandra. Thank you for joining. So those are some questions there for you guys. Now, I'm going to continue, but let's say you want to answer this question later. You can say, going back to your first question, to be honest, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so if you want to answer this question later, you can use this language. Going back to your first question, to be honest, and then give me your answer. Leondina says, to be honest, I really enjoy watching Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep is an enjoyable actress to watch. Her movies, I mean, look, she has been in a lot of movies, a lot of movies, and she is enjoyable. I don't know what my favorite movie of Meryl Streep is. Here's a good, actually. Alejandro says, to be frankly, I haven't seen many series at the moment. To be frank. It's either frankly or to be frank. So it's either frankly or to be frank. We can't mix the two, though. Actually, though, here's a good one, okay? Let's say you're not sure what the answer is. You can use this phrase, which is a linking phrase, okay? Off the top of my head, off the top of my head, I would say, okay? So when you use this, you're simply saying, first thing I can think of is, okay? So this is a good phrase you can use. Someone has asked you a question, you don't know the answer, but you want to give an answer, and you can say, well, off the top of my head, I would say. This is another discourse marker. It is a linking phrase. It helps your thought. It tells the person about your thought process. So off the top of my head, I would say. So the first thing I can think of is. Evelina says, to be honest, I think Denzel Washington, a good actor. Okay, so Evelina, I can see what you're saying, and the meaning is there. Just three things. One, think of the spelling of honest. Don't forget the H. Have a little think about thing versus think in terms of the pronunciation. I can do that for you quickly now. And don't forget is versus are. Okay, we need to think about those things. If some of you do struggle with a word like thing and think, okay, just on the pronunciation side of things, if you take your hand and you put it on your throat and go g, okay, so we're going to go g, 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 g. G is a voiced sound, and when you say g, your throat moves up and down. It goes down and then up. G, g. If you keep your hand there and then you say the next sound, which is k, 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 your voice box, your throat does not move. It is an unvoiced sound. So that's what you need to do. Think, thing. Think, thing. Think, thing. G, 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 k, g, 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 okay? So that is a little pronunciation technique that you guys can use when you're not sure if you can hear the difference between g and k. All right. Stefano says, going back to the beginning of today's lesson, to be honest, I've never heard talking about discourse markers indeed. Okay. Yet they're not. You might have seen them before, but you might not have been told that they were discourse markers. They come under linking. They have a few words, informal words, and you might see them in the book here and there, but their official title is discourse markers. And discourse markers are very useful when it comes to trying to help the person you're speaking to understand and follow what you are saying. So far, we've looked at three. Well, we've looked at a few. Going back to a previous point, like going back to the beginning, as I was saying, for example, we've got to be honest and off the top of my head. So let's have a little look at off the top of my head one. I want you guys to say the first thing that you can think of, but you need to start your sentence with off the top of my head. So, for example, if you could have lunch anywhere in the world, where would you have it? Where would you have it? Yeah. Okay. Sandra says, off the top of my head, I would say Ben Kingsley is one of the best actors. Good answer. Good answer, Sandra. Don't forget, off is going to have two F's, though. So my example answer for my question would be off the top of my head. I would say, where would I say? I think it's probably going to be Rome. No, I don't want to go with Rome. Can I think of somewhere different? What? It's so difficult to get away from Italy when it comes to food. I am not going to go with Italy. It's too easy. Other than Italy. Salta in Argentina. Because I would like a steak. Let's go with that. I'm not going to go with Italy. It's too easy. Where would I like dinner? Yeah, so if you could have lunch anywhere in the world, where would you have it? Off the top of my head, I would say Salta in Argentina. So that's my answer. Let me know what your answer is. Look, usually it is always going to be Italy for me when it comes to food. It's but I don't want to always give Italy as an answer. It's like if you could have any food right now, what would it be? Off the top of my head, I probably would say pizza. But I don't want to always go for pizza or Italian food. Okay, I've got one. Okay, another one. So just in case you are thinking about it, I'll put out another question, this time with drink, off the top of your, sorry, so what is the best drink on a night out? Let's say that's the question. For me, off the top of my head, I would say Jack Daniel Coke. Jack Daniel Coke. The reason being is that I know with Jack Daniel Coke, your evening can go on for a long time. You don't get drunk very quickly. It's not too expensive. It's okay. The taste is nice. It's not my favorite drink in the world. But if what's the best drink on a night out, so you're going out for you're going to be out with friends for a long time, off the top of my head, I would say Jack Daniel Coke. Leondina says, okay, to the question about food, Off the top of my head, I would say I could have lunch in Thailand. Okay, that's a good answer. Thai curry is delicious. Off the top of my head, I would say you don't need, I would say I could have, you don't need would and then could. I mean, you can, but you don't need to. It probably makes a bit more sense just to say, I would say lunch in Thailand, or I would say Thailand, actually. Yeah, you can just say, I would say Thailand. That's what I would suggest anyway. Stefano asks, does it mean this is the first thing that comes to mind? Yes, it is. It's the first thing that comes to mind. Again, if, for example, if someone asks me, who is the best footballer you have ever seen in your life? Off the top of my head, I am probably going to say Ronaldinho. If I think about it hard, I'm going to confuse myself, because then, you know, there's Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, there's Zidane, there's Paul Scholes, there's Messi, there's Cristiano Ronaldo, and the list goes on. So it's really, so it's the first name that comes to your head, and it comes to your head. So for me, if it's football, I mean, look, Ronaldinho for me, he's definitely the most entertaining footballer. Definitely the most entertaining footballer. See, now I don't know if is he the best footballer? I don't know. Maybe Zidane. The Brazilian Ronaldo was brilliant. See, as soon as I start to think, it becomes a really difficult question to answer. Evelina says, off the top of my head, I would say Corona beer with salt and lemon. Oh, that is brilliant. That is brilliant, Evelina. That is an excellent answer. I think there's also a bit of humor in that as well, because of the coronavirus. And I know some people, I saw a video of some Americans who were trying to say that they stopped drinking Corona beer because they thought that they would get the coronavirus from drinking Corona beer. It's very funny. So I don't know if that was meant to be funny, but I thought Evelina, like the video for Evelina, I think that's a fantastic answer at the moment. It might be true, it might be your drink, but I think I think because of the Corona bit, I think, Evelina, there's a good bit of sense of humor in there. So bravo to you. Like the video for Evelina. That was a good one. If someone were to ask you, what's your favorite drink, alcoholic drink in the world, for example, for me, it's going to be wine. I mean, I love wine. If someone were to ask me, what is your favorite wine, off the top of my head, I would say, actually, I think I would know, actually. It's a wine called Chateau Langebage. But that's because I really like my wine. So this is the phrase off the top of my head. It's a really good one to know. It's a good one to use. And it means it's the first thing you think of. It doesn't mean that's your actual answer, but it's a good one to use. Let's look at some other examples here that you can use. Okay, let's say you want to compare two things. I think, yeah, let's go with this. Okay, I'm going to go with this one here that we can use, because comparisons are a good one. Okay, it depends on the context. The one I'm going to go with first is, let's go with by contrast. Okay, so this is when you are comparing two different things together, and you want to compare these things. And the way we use by contrast, for example, you've got point one, comma, or what would be the first part of your clause, by contrast, point two. And there's always going to be a comma there. Well, most of the time anyway. Stefano says, actually, I couldn't say what my top drink has been so far off the top of my head. Fair enough, Stefano. So you're going to compare two things, and you want to use by contrast. Okay. So I'm going to use the coronavirus as an example. We can say, let's say, who's done really, Malta has done quite well. So Malta were quick to react to the coronavirus outbreak. Now, an outbreak is when there's the start of a virus. Okay, so outbreak is the start of a problem. Start of a problem. Okay, such as a virus. So Malta were quick to react to the coronavirus, and yeah, comma. By contrast, the UK have been slow. So you're comparing two things, and one positive, one negative, maybe. And to link the two ideas together, you can use by contrast. You're going to put a comma to put out a to give a different example. We could say. Okay, we could say beer in Norway is really expensive. It's really expensive because it costs, let's say, what is it? Something like 8, I think. It's €8 for a pint. By contrast, Malta is much cheaper because a beer, because pint costs, I think it's about €3. Okay, so this is what we can do. Oh, sorry, I just realized I have made a complete and utter mistake. Let me get rid of that. Let me rewrite it. There was a spelling mistake. There we go. So beer in Norway is really expensive because it costs €8 for a pint. A pint, big glass. By contrast, Malta is much cheaper because a pint costs €3. So this is how we can compare two different things. The thing about by contrast, and this is just an introduction to using it, but it doesn't matter what your level is. You could be elementary, you could be up at intermediate. You can use by contrast when comparing two different things together. I know at pre-intermediate, you do a lot of comparison language, and this is a good discourse marker that you can use to compare two things. So in the comment section, we're going to try and compare two things. I'm just going to list the different topics that we could talk about. If you want to talk about coronavirus, you can do. If you want to talk about food, drink, weather, films, music, go for it. I'm going to give another example. I would say, for instance, if I'm going to give another example, let's see. I tell you what, Ronaldo and Messi, just for example. So CR7 score CR7 scores goals, but doesn't run around a lot. But by contrast, let's see, can I think of an even simpler one? CR7 scores a lot of goals with his head. By contrast, Messi scores a lot with his left foot. So that's another example of using by contrast. Let's see what you guys come up with. And for those of you who like to think in numbers, this is another example of how you could use by contrast. The economy in the EU shrunk, got smaller by 2%, comma. By contrast, the USA saw growth of nearly 5%. So that is an example. We will need commas when we use this before and most of the time afterwards as well. Alejandro says, is the same that on the contrary? Is it the same as on the contrary? It is similar. It is similar. You are comparing. The examples might be a little bit different. On the contrary, I would say this is when I would use on the contrary. Okay. Let's say person A. Person A. I think the weather in Malta is better than in the UK. S&B, on the contrary. Wait a minute, what have I written? What have I written here? I've made a little bit of a spelling mistake. Here we go. So on the contrary, the UK is warmer at the moment. Okay, so that is how you could use it. That's how you could use on the contrary. Stefano says, while in Northern Europe, including UK, food and drinks are very really either one, not very really, either very or really. We can't use both. I'm going to go with are very expensive. By contrast, in Italy, people may be having their delicious lunch for very little money. Yes, that would be a good sentence. I would say just two things. First of all, choose between very and really. And the more I think about using by contrast, I'm reminding myself, comma, by contrast, comma. Okay, best to use a comma either side of by contrast. Okay, when we put it in the middle. Okay, guys. Okay, so that's what oh wow, I just realized the time. We're running out of time already. Today the lesson's been very quick. Okay. I'm going to give you guys a chance. I'm going to give you guys two things to compare, and then you can give me your personal opinion. Music of today versus music of the past. I have some strong opinions on this. Okay, so to be honest, I'm going to use quite a few here. So to be honest, music of the past, such as the 70s, required more musical talent. By contrast, music of today requires less musical talent because of technology. Okay, so this is an example. To be honest, so I'm using more than one phrase now, more than one linking word. To be honest, music of the past, such as the 70s, required more musical talent, comma. By contrast, comma, music of today requires less musical talent because of technology. So this is a strong opinion. I've used by contrast, and I've compared music of today with music of the past. Unfortunately, when I think of music of today, I would like to think of better music, but um, I think some modern day artists don't help the musical talent side of things. Um, I know Nicki Minaj, for example, is very popular, but I don't I don't think I could say that Nicki Minaj has the musical talent, for example, of someone like Jimi Hendrix. I just don't think you can compare them. They're really different. So that's what I'm thinking of. But let me know, guys, in the comment section. Try and compare music of today with music of the past. We have 4 minutes left. Let's see if you can use by contrast. It is a difficult one. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, music of today. I mean, look, there are some good songs. There are good musicians today. Um, I think there is a lot of what we would call techno sort of music. A lot of music with that has a technology in it. It's gone through a program. Um, it's the person making the music has had a lot of help from the computer. It wasn't like in the past. It's not the same as if someone just stands up and tries to sing or tries to play the piano or tries to play the guitar. Um, so that's my opinion anyway. But let me know what you guys think. Music of today versus music of the past. I don't know what it's like though with other countries as well. Stefano says, going back to the past, if someone asked me to opt for this or that kind of music, I couldn't come up with a decision off the top of my head. Good answer, Stefano. Nice, good stuff. Good one. Well done. Good answer. Good answer indeed. I think with um, I think one of the interesting types of genre is beach music. There is a lot of very good beach music today. My favorite beach music, though, is still Bob Marley. I don't, for me, when it comes to sun, relaxed beach weather music, Bob Marley is number one for me. Um, I think, and generally speaking, reggae music is perfect for the beach. So we've got 2 minutes left. Let's see if anyone else would like to have a go, or for that matter, if anyone would like to answer another question from earlier on in the lesson. Just to remind you guys, I will be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And tomorrow's lesson, is going to be tomorrow's lesson is going to be a grammar challenge. So I'm gonna throw some grammar at you guys tomorrow. We'll see what we can do. I'll try and make sure there's something for everyone, from elementary all the way up, or maybe beginner. If we have any beginners, I'll include beginners, but if not, then I'll include something for everyone. Elementary all the way up to upper intermediate, or maybe even advanced as well. Evelina says, see you and bye for now. Bye for now, Evelina. Thank you very much for joining and watching the lesson today, and for your amusing answer. Stefano says, could I replace by contrast with on the contrary? Not necessarily within the sentence. You can use on the contrary at the start, Trying to use it in the middle of the sentence. Mm, off the top of my head, we would have to look at it because we could easily get it wrong. Georgia says, ciao, Richard. Ciao, Georgia. Georgia. Irena says, see you tomorrow. Yes, guys, thank you very much for joining. See you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming to the lesson. Make sure you like the video, share and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I will see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the day. All of you have commented in the live chat. Thank you very much for chatting. For those of you who are watching but haven't necessarily commented, thank you very much for watching. Arena, you too, Stefano, thank you very much. Leondina, yes, you too, thank you very much. Much appreciated, and I will see all of you guys tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Bye for now.